So Shane Steichen spoke to the media a couple of minutes ago, and what he's reaffirming is what we already know. And that's that, you know what, it's a privilege to play in the NFL, and in a Week 18 game that has no bearing on the playoff races at all, you know what, it's still football. It's still the National Football League. You're being paid to go out there and play like professionals, so go out and do that. Shane Steichen, a little bit more upbeat today than he was on Monday, that's for sure.
First off, Happy New Year to everybody. Hope everyone had a good night last night. Did you have a good night?
I did.
We're all here, so I
made it here.
No rest. So.
Yeah, no doubt. That's good. We'll walk through today. Obviously, try to finish the season strong with the W this weekend.
With the walkthrough, we're going to get a projected participation. Will Anthony be what?
We'll see. We're hopeful. I mean, he's working through his rehab and his treatment right now, working through that right now. So we'll see how the week progresses with that.
Shane, when you have a team captain on this podcast, said you want to split the Giants, they're a bad team, and you go out and lose to that team. Like, do you address that, and how do you address that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you got to be smart with your words, with that comment right there, and yeah, you get that addressed, obviously moving forward, so it doesn't happen again.
Is it a problem when captain's doing a weekly podcast like that and sharing a lot of the conversations you guys are having behind the scenes?
Yeah, look, I got a lot of respect for Zaire, obviously, and some of the comments, that he knows he can't do that, and we talk through those things.
With Anthony, is it? I mean, I know back-to-back can be kind of hard to estimate. Is it just kind of like lingering a little bit longer than?
Yeah, like I said, we'll see how the week progresses. He's progressing, so we'll see how it goes.
Is that something he's had in the past, or I don't know how this is going to work? Is it something new for him?
Yeah, it popped up obviously last week for him. So,
how much does playing in this game do you think matter for him? I mean, it doesn't matter in the standings per se, but
yeah, I think it matters not only for him or the whole team. You know what I mean? We got a job to do, no matter what the circumstances are. Right? We got to put our best foot forward and try to win a football game. You know what I mean? I think that's part of this league is sometimes you go through these tough times and through a season, and obviously you're eliminated from the playoffs, but you still got to show up and do your job every day. Be a professional about it. Meetings, practice. I mean, because you're still playing for something, right? We all got jobs to do, and we got to go out and perform.
What would you say? How would you kind of sum up Anthony's season to date? It's been interesting for sure.
Yeah, he's had some great moments. I'll tell you what, he really has. Obviously, the injuries, have been, not great. Obviously, we want him out there all the time, but he has shown signs of greatness out there. He's done some really good things. But you continue to grow and develop as a young player. I mean, last year, he played whatever 4 games it was, and then this year he's been banged up a little bit. But you can see the flashes of what it can be for sure.
There's certain areas right now that you feel like you can just tell he's better right now than like week 1 this season?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as you go through a season, you grow and you learn all the time, new things. Obviously, just going through the meetings and the practice of the full season. Last year obviously was different for him with the injury and more of the rehab process. And this year going through it, you can see the growth and development for sure.
Shane, when it comes to him as a passer, I know you have talked about that a lot. Why do you think there's been progression from last year to this year being like the last year?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think you go back and look at everything. You look at the film and how you can improve on that. I don't know. Maybe you can look at the history of the NFL and quarterbacks. Maybe there is a season where it's up and down and they get better the next year. So we'll go back and look at that and get some things cleaned up.
I mean, how far away do you think he is just from being an acceptably consistent passer? Just because he is up and down, right?
Yeah, it does. It takes time. You know what I mean? You've seen it through the history of the NFL. Some of these guys come in and it takes, maybe 2 or 3 years and all of a sudden they hit it, you know what I mean? And it takes off. So we'll keep working through it.
Shane, defensively, Buck kind of said, tackling and run defense are the things that stick out to him about that you guys are struggling with. What sticks out to you about the stuff that hasn't been consistent enough for that unit?
I think Buck hit it, you know what I mean? Just some of the tackling stuff. Obviously it wasn't good enough this year. But, we got another opportunity this week, to go out and fight and scratch and claw. And those things, obviously, when you're losing and you have the season, that we've had so far, it's disappointing, not only in that area, but a lot of different areas that we need to clean up moving forward as a football team.
So there's Steichen, and he's still not going to say anything about the availability of Anthony Richardson, whether he's going to be able to play or not. What he does know is that the team's got to go out and play and represent the franchise, represent the Irsay family, the city of Indianapolis, all these things as professionals. Go out, play football as hard as they possibly can. Anthony Richardson, we mentioned. We spoke to Anthony Richardson as well about what he learned in 2024, whether he's going to be able to play, what this injury to his back is. He is interesting talking about all of it. Here is Anthony Richardson.
Feeling way better than last week, definitely. Last week was a little rough, but hey, we made it through. You know, all glory to God.
AR, can you explain what the injury is and I guess when it happened or how it happened?
Just dealing with my back, you know, just lower back stuff. Last week was tough. You know, I couldn't even stand up on Tuesday. Could barely even walk, you know, crawling around the house. But, you know, I'm here. I'm standing now. You know, if I can do everything in my power to get on the field, you know, I'm gonna do so. You know, that was my mindset last week as well. But, you know, I could barely move. So, you know.
Anthony, have you ever dealt with spasms before?
Oh yeah, I have. I've been dealing with stuff like this in about like 8th grade, but it's never been this severe. It was definitely a little scary last year. I mean, not last week, not being able to move, but you know, like I said, I'm standing up now, and I'm looking forward to playing this week if I can.
Do you know what causes them? Has that been something they looked into?
I got an MRI. You know, they checked it out. It says it's a disc thing, and that's been there for a while, but I guess it got triggered the wrong way last week, and you know, it did what it did.
In a season in which there's been so many stops and starts, how important is it to you to finally get out there, close out the season on the field with your team?
You know, God's willing, you know, if I'm able to go out there with my teammates this week, you know, it's just great to finish off the season, you know, with a victory, because you know, that'll just instill some confidence in us going into the off season, and just find some ways to, you know, fine tune certain things and just get better as players and just get better for the organization.
It had to be frustrating for you to be on the sidelines watching that. Could you take us through your mindset as you watched that game slip away?
Yeah, honestly, just preparing throughout that week, you know, I knew it was going to be tough for me to, you know, potentially step out on the field, so that was kind of hurting me. And then just watching the game and not being able to, you know, go out there and help my teammates, it definitely hurts a lot, especially considering everything that was on the line for us. But, you know, to each his own, you know, we got to find some ways to get better, you know, in and outside of the building, and, you know, just find a way to get victory next season.
Hey, you said you've been dealing with these back injuries for years, or back issues for years. Is it something chronic? Is it kind of going away on its own? Like, how do you view just your back?
You know, I never viewed it as a problem. You know, I just thought it was more so just muscle tightness from just working out and running a lot. But it might be chronic, but there's plenty of ways to prevent it, you know, going on in the future. Now that I know that what it is, you know, I can find certain ways to, you know, stay out of certain positions, just make sure I'm healthy 100%.
Have they talked to you about potentially surgery at all?
No, they say that it's not that severe, but, you know, God's willing, you know, I hope it never gets that severe up to that point. You know, I just hope I can just, you know, keep playing throughout the rest of my career with no problems.
And the MRI showed a disc issue. Is that kind of what the MRI showed?
Yeah, that's what it was.
If you had a stretch of number of games in a row that you were able to play and finish, I guess what was sort of if it's frustration, just the emotions of, you know, I'm sure you wanted to be out there just to deal with this again.
Like I said, it's tough, you know, especially just watching us lose the way we did, you know, especially with everything that was, you know, on the line and on the table for us. You know, you never want to lose games in this league, especially, you know, going out like that, you know, ending playoff, you know, potential. But, you know, like I said, you know, it gives us opportunity, you know, to, you know, go into this week, you know, get a victory and just get better for next season.
Anthony, maybe this doesn't matter, and I know you're kind of in your own little bubble, but you know, when you're not out there and you have had injuries, people make assumptions. This guy's not tough, whatever it is. What do you say to that?
Man, everybody got their own opinion. You know, I'm not mad at it. You know, I have missed games due to injury. So there is, you know, enough information for them to go out there and say stuff like that. But, you know, it is what it is, man. It's a tough league. You got to be tough to go out there and play through injuries and fight through certain things. You know, I try my best to do so when I can, and when I can't, you know, that's just what it is. And, you know, hopefully next year, you know, or this week coming up, if I'm able to go, hopefully I don't miss any games and I can just stay healthy and just play.
AR, what do you think you need to, I guess, improve the most as a passer this year, knowing that you're last in league completion percentage?
You know, being smart with the ball. You know, of course, making decisions, you know, down the field, taking deep shots when I have the opportunity to do so, but just taking the easy things. You know, I feel like that's one area in my game that I can grow a lot in. Just taking the easy completions, taking the checkdowns when I can. and just moving the ball down the field so the offense can stay on the field and we can put up points. I feel like that's something I'm going to be looking forward to this offseason, making sure I'm being accurate with every pass, especially the short and intermediate stuff.
How you doing with the back? But assuming you go into the offseason relatively healthy, how big do you think an offseason where you're not rehabbing for months can be for you in your development?
Well, I think it'd be great, honestly. Give me a chance to reset. Finally take some time to, take a deeper dive into certain things. Certain aspects of my life. Certain things that can help me. When it comes to the season next year, and just also just perfecting. When it comes to football. Certain drills and just being, intentional about that instead of worrying about a shoulder injury and stuff like that.
In a season in which this team collectively has had experienced a lot of adversity, what would a win Sunday do for this locker room to close out the year?
Like I said, it just gives us confidence going into the offseason, knowing that we are a great physical and fun football team to watch. But it just gives guys, just the excitement to know that, coming out of this season with a victory, it'll just lead us into, next season rolling and just having fun.
What's the biggest thing you learned in 2024?
Man, adversity is great. Some people look at it as a bad thing, but I feel like adversity, it allows you to, grow, change as a person and just get better. So I'm thankful for this past year, and I think 2024 is a year of adversity for us.
What have you
Last one.
just learned about yourself throughout that whole year?
Just keep fighting. Control what you can control. Everything's not going to go in your way. Everything's not going in your favor. But it's life. That's how life is, and it just matter how you fight back and how you respond to certain things. It's how you just go out there and try to just be better every single day.
All right, there's Anthony Richardson. I wanted to ask him about what he's learned in 2024 because I think it's interesting, and it's kind of an open-ended question. It's not a yes and no. It's not looking for a specific answer. I wanted to know what he's learned. He's learned from the adversity, and he's learned to welcome adversity into his life. That's a big step for a guy in his maturity, a 22-year-old. You know what? Life is about how you handle adversity. It's not whether it's coming. It's when it comes, how do you handle it? I think it's great that Anthony Richardson is figuring out that he needs to really welcome it, learn from it, move on from it, and be appreciative of it.